And 1 second. There we go. Good afternoon, Shaggy SoCal with 2 for Forza, and time for the next track guides in this Audi R6 Avant station wagon. I'm sorry, estate car. I think I'm starting with what technically would be the second race this coming Thursday at Mid-Ohio. It's the more technical of the two tracks. Figured I'd start there mainly because of that. So again, standard format. I'm going to go out, run a few laps, talk a little bit as I'm trying to relearn what I need to do with this car, and then I'll do the kind of the what I call the slow track walk, and just kind of point out the things that I think the car needs, what I'm looking at, what I'm looking to do, and then I think I'm going to run. I always, because I need to practice with some traffic, I'll run a mock race with what I think the lap count is. Usually my mock races or my test races are a little bit high on the lap count because I'm not factoring in bucket delays, but I try to simulate everything else as closely to what we set up for on Thursday. So with that, right now we're at Mid-Ohio. It's a nice noon, partly cloudy day on the short circuit. I'm running medium tires at 50% fuel. Let's see what this hunk of junk can do. Now, the way Voodoo set this car up, I'm probably going to do a kind of a slow outpace lap, and then run a few. But the characteristics of this car, I've described it as a point and shoot. This is a almost 4,000-pound all-wheel drive super hatchback as far as balance is concerned. So it's got a lot of oversteer. So the one thing this car does really well is accelerate in a straight line. No problems there. It also brakes pretty well in a straight line considering its weight. Where the reason I call this a point and shoot car is because it's all-wheel drive, because there's power to the front wheels. You can't make front tires do more than one thing at once. So if you want to turn, that's fine, but you really can't be full beans on the throttle, or you can't be full braking. The car's just not going to turn. So you have to kind of compromise with what the car will allow you to do, and there's really no way to hustle this thing. So it really is about patience. So we'll finish warming up the mediums here, and then we'll run a couple hot laps. So what you'll find is, especially here at Mid-Ohio, the nice thing at Mid-Ohio, I was kind of surprised, but maybe I shouldn't have been. There's enough low-speed corners where the mechanical grip on this car is pretty good. It's just trying to do anything in these kind of medium and high-speed corners that you have to kind of compromise what you're doing. Oop, that was not enough braking. So let's get a flying lap going here. Do a couple of flyers. Third gear. Fourth gear up the straight. I'll probably need to go into fifth. Brake the 200 board. Get all my braking done as I get to the bridge. Release. Balance with the throttle out. As soon as I get out to the outside curbing, drop it down to second gear for the short hairpin. Again, we're running the short course, not the full on, not all the way down to the keyhole. Third gear out. I'm looking for the 300 board here on the left side. Right there. Down to third gear so I don't go off to China Beach. Third gear, brake about halfway up the hill here, down to second. Try to hug the inside as best I can. Brake just before the 50 board. Third gear or second gear, your choice. And it's usually a little lift here over that. Use a lot of that inside curbing. Little lift there. Get the car turned in, down to second gear. Roll back on the throttle. Out. I'm going to look for the inside wall there, down to third. Turn, accelerate, brake at the end of the yellow curbing. Down to second gear. On the inside, roll back into the throttle, brief lift, then back into the throttle. Hope we don't have to lift again to get to start finish. So let me run a couple more laps here and I'll try and shut up a little bit. It's a little too much braking. We'll work with it. Let's do a little bit later of an apex this time. Oh, that's almost pushing off. Again, car doesn't. This is why I practice. You can see all my mistakes. All right, let's just try and reset. That's a little more curving than I want. This one I'd use. So you can see even through there, I'm not full throttle all the way through that section. Anytime I think I need the car to turn, I'm just breathing the throttle a little bit to give the front tires a chance to grip and turn. That's a little late on the brakes there. See if I can actually get a good quick clean one here. A little bit late, but we'll do a late apex out and try not to go off this time. I'm out of rhythm there. I got to figure out what I'm doing wrong. It's probably partly going to second. Go. All right, so let's do the track walk here. So coming down the front stretch, fourth gear, probably fifth gear. I'm braking about, at least right now, as far as just comfortable pace, I'm braking at about the 200 board. And again, when I'm talking about this car, it only does one thing really well, which is accelerate in a straight line. Braking in a straight line is probably the second best thing it does, though. And again, the caveat is it is a 4,000 pound car, so you need probably a little more braking distance than what we're used to. Anything else with turning, it's, at least for me, this car seems to work well. If you can get all your braking done before you have to turn the car, that's better. Because then when you release the brakes and turn the car in, the front wheels are kind of free to grip and turn. The second, if you're trying to trail brake in or trail brake into the corner, if you give it too much braking, all of a sudden the car is going to start to understeer and push. And it's the same thing on the exits as well, of how much you're probably not going to be able to commit to the full throttle as early as you could, say, with the Falcon or even the Porsche that we did in actually even the BMW. The last three cars were all rear wheel drive cars, so you could play around and really commit early on the throttle, and if the back end started to kick out, a little counter steer, a little breathe, and off you go. This car doesn't do that. It's all-wheel drive, so it's going to understeer. So again, I'm braking here about the 200 board. Let's drop it down to first, and I'm trying to get my braking. If I do it right, and it'll be tire dependent, I'm actually trying to get all of my braking done, and I'm trying to release the throttle at the earliest as I get to the bridge, like as I'm getting to the cement here on the bridge on the right. Um, it might be a little bit later. Certainly, I don't want to be releasing the brakes as I'm exiting. So I'd say you want to get all your braking done between here and say when you actually get under the bridge. If you're still braking here, you're probably going to go wide, and this is probably where you're going to have to contemplate. If you stay on the brakes, because the car is going to understeer and you're not going to be able to turn, you may just have to say, okay, risk it. I'm going to just release the brakes and hopefully the front tires will grip. So, but if you get all your braking done, you get it comfortable with it, you should be able to release the throttle here and turn, and the car will turn. At that point, then I'm immediately balancing with the throttle, off and on, just gauging. I don't, and this is the difference. I don't tend to, if I find the car's pushing, it's easier for me to maybe put a little more steering in, but I'm going to back the throttle up off a little bit to give the front tires a little bit more grip to turn the car versus I'm not going to change the throttle position. I'm just going to crank more steering in. That might work. But then again, with the increased tire drag that we have for our races, and your tire drag's really high here. Um, you're there's no upside. The downsides are greater than the upside. You might preserve lap time, and maybe it helps you set up a pass. You know, debatable here in turn one. But you're just overheating the tires and just increasing the amount of wear over the lap. Maybe once in a while you can get away with that, but certainly not lap over lap. Anyhow, less talking, more driving. So again, probably down to fourth, third gear, depends on how well I do my braking. I'm going to try and get it to the inside curbing here. Sometimes early on, I might be off it, especially on the hard tires. I might be off the curbing a little bit more, just because I didn't quite get the braking done, or the car's just pushing a little bit. But ideally, exit. You should try and exit about mid track. More often than not, I think most of us are going to be closer to the yellow curving on the inside. That's fine. It's just this hairpin, because it's a short course, is sneaks up on you a lot quicker than you expect. So as soon as you get the car out of the corner and you are parallel, pointed straight down towards the keyhole, as soon as you're parallel with the curving on the outside, you're going to be getting to the brakes. And so there's really no time to get back to full throttle, to get any kind of momentum to set up for the braking. You're just getting the car through the corner. As soon as you're out, you're braking for the hairpin. So brake, 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 second gear. This is where I think a lot of us, we're going to have a lot of different lines depending on how well we do our braking. If someone is all the way on the right side and they hit the brakes, and you're behind them a little bit, just give them a chance to make the corner and then see if they push wide. If they push wide, you might be able to do the crossover underneath. If they hold the corner, maybe you might be able to stick a little bit alongside on the outside. But this corner will be interesting. But at least for me, I'm going to try to hold the inside as much as I can. If I do push off early a little bit, I'll probably take a little bit later in apex on the way out. But what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to balance against, is the Acura sign on the way out. If you're going to take a later apex, if you get a little bit wide, you're going to late apex it. When you find that late apex, the arc should take you out so that you're parallel. You're on the left side, right about where that Acura sign is, but definitely no further out than, say, the Honda. I think ideally, you kind of be back out onto the straightaway, let the car roll out to have it about here, to be on the front straight. Now, traffic may dictate that, mistakes, so on and so forth. But again, second gear out, third gear, fourth gear. Now I'm looking for the 300 board on the left side here. What's actually usually easier for me to spot is the yellow cutouts they put in the fencing for the press photographers and for corner workers. So I'll see the yellow kind of foam outline there before I see the 300 board, and that's usually yellow. I know to brake just past that. Might be able to brake a little bit later, say on the softer tires, but I think, again, just trying to get into a pace that seems to work best for me. Down to third gear, release the brakes and turn in, balance with the throttle. I just want to get just on the curbing, just barely, roll back in up the hill. About here, I'm going to drop it to second. And I'm going to try to hold the inside as much as I can. A lot of cases you can see as you crest the hill or the new pavement, the exit out, if you can hold the inside line all the way out, that's fine. If you find you're understeering a little bit and you get out to, say, mid-track and you can bring the car back across, I think that's fine as well. It's very difficult, sometimes to try and find that, keep the front end under you. Bring the car out, bring it back over the left side. Braking is, for me, it's the 50 board no later than the 50 board. I'm actually trying to brake slightly before it. And this is where, in the test laps, I'm still trying to find the right gearing. I think ultimately, if you're up to pace, third gear is probably ideal. But if you find you're going a little quick, drop it to second, gets a little more weight in the front of the car, and helps the turn in. Abusing curbs, starting to go into the madness. I will abuse this one a little bit. I find that if you abuse this, if you try to cross over too much, it puts you on a bad angle on the exit. So I'm going to try and late apex this one, get a little bit on the curbing on the way out, so that I can kind of try and keep the car about mid circuit as I head to this next left right combo. Roll back on the throttle as I start to turn the car. Again, this is the compromise thing. This car will not does not turn and accelerate well at the same time. Pick one. If you're gonna try and force full throttle through here, you're gonna be cranking a heck of a lot of steering in, and a lot of excess heat and a lot of excess wear for not a lot of benefit. So I would say this is all about just being smooth and graceful with the throttle, with your throttle inputs, let it off, roll back in. So this is definitely roll off the throttle as you turn the car in, abuse, cross over this curbing, start to roll back in the throttle. More often than not, if I'm full throttle at all, it's briefly. Especially crossing this hill, you might be able to get back to full throttle, but definitely as you start coming back down the other side, and I'm going to start to turn back in, I'm going to ease off on the gas. Again, if I try to hold full throttle through here, the car's going to understeer. So it's best to back the throttle off, turn the car in, let it work. You might feel the back end kick out a little bit. That's fine. It's nice and stable. Get on this curving a little bit, and then I'm going to brake just as I get to this outside curving. Be careful how you know you want your angle to be kind of as close to parallel with the outside curving as possible, because you don't want to be at such a steep angle that getting to the braking you risk going off on the left side. Again, the second you get to the brakes, the car is going to want to understeer depending on how much pressure you put into it. So just brake here, down to second gear, release the brake, turn in, balance the throttle. Right about when you get to the end of the curbing here on the inside, if you've got the turn in right, you should be able to roll back into full throttle, because even if the car understeers, you've got plenty of room cresting the hill to get the car out and just kind of finish that turn and get it straight. Last part, you can hold full throttle through here. This is one of the few turns that you'll be able to do that. What I'm trying to do is get the car over, and I'm braking, and we'll see how this evolves over the race. But what I'm trying to do is 200, I think, is too late, at least in my experience. Where the grass ends is a bit early. So I think it's about halfway in between where that grass ends and that 200 board is about the ideal place, I think, for me, that I'll be braking. And I'm trying a new line. Normally, most of the other cars, I tend to try to parallel up with the Armco here on the right side, past the 200 board, and then turn in. I think this car, just given its nature, is I'm going to kind of diamond a little bit. My braking is I'm going to kind of brake across the track and kind of have it in the middle of the track when I release to make the left-hander. So what I'm trying to do is, and I'm going to move up here a little bit and then I'll back up. You can see, if you see straight ahead, and I'll get it close. I think that's like a pit suite or a building that's kind of straight, in front of the trees. I'm trying to line up on that. So I'm coming up the hill and I get to the braking zone. I want to have the car pointed towards that as best I can. I have no idea how visible that'll be at night, if we happen to run at night, and certainly if we're in fog. I'll have to figure something else out. But ultimately, if I can kind of spot that, it's a good reference point. Brake, 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 brake. I'm braking in a straight line. Right about here is, I'll start to see the new pavement here in front of me. There'll be a release down to third gear, and then the car should be able to turn in. I should be able to get on the curbing here, roll back into the throttle, let the car come all the way out to the curbing here. And this is the other one where I'm going to straight line brake. And I think I do this even in the rear wheel drive cars, where I'll be in third gear. I'm going to brake in a straight line. The car's going to come off the inside about to mid track, and then about here I'll have it down to second. This is where I'll release the brake and turn the car. It does set me up a little wider for the entry, so I am putting myself at risk for someone that might want to try to stick their nose underneath. But I'd rather be a little bit wide, be on the newer pavement, second gear, late apex, roll back into the throttle, short shift to third, brief lift to get the car turned in. Just a very brief lift, not even all the way out of the throttle, just enough to help get the tires to grip. And I'm going to try and get the car parallel to the curbing here, maybe on it, maybe just clip it a little bit late apex onto the front straightaway, third gear. If I do it right, I should be able to hold full throttle all the way out and exit. Worst case, if I think I'm going to go off, I just lift just very briefly and right back on. Again, it's just about, again, the front tires can't accelerate full throttle and turn at the same time. So I just back the throttle up a little bit, get a little bit more grip, get it onto the front straight and then right back in to roll full throttle. So that's a lap of Mid-Ohio short. So it is, this is not a track. This is not a track well, none of the tracks we're going to be racing this season. You're not going to be able to really force this car to do anything it doesn't want to do. So your best bet is to try and just work with what it can do well to get you around the track. So should make for some good racing again because the nature of the understeer and how it understeers, and then the high tire day because this thing is 4,000 pounds. Should make some good racing here. Only a couple places probably to really pass, but we'll get into that here in a second. We go ahead and exit to event menu. Excuse me. Yeah, well, XP will be saved. So I'm going to take a chance. I think the last couple of streams, it seems that my bitrate issue with the staticky thing on long streams has gone away, but we're going to experiment with that on this. So I'm going to go in and let me exit out of here. We're going to do the mock race with what I think the race distance will be, and then we'll talk about tire strategy and okay. My notes here. Okay. Go back to the menu. Advanced setup. Let's see if I have if it gives me the same issues that I had last time. So nope. We're going to do circuit race, short circuit, number of laps. This might be a lap or two high. I'm going to do 27 laps. Starting time of day, we do random. Rolling is fine. That's all good. We'll go random, but I am not going to run in the rain, but we'll give Forza a chance to do something interesting. All the drive tires, number drive tires 8. Cars. No, I don't want to set it to sport luxury. I go any. 6 Avant. Oh, that's nice. There's 2. You can hear the... Okay, Forza, you really gotta make that a little bit more so we can tell the difference. If there's 2 RS6 Avants, throw a year out there, please. Though I guess technically I could change that to make it a little more, to limit it more, but that's fine. Let's go to power handicapped. I don't need to worry about that. Sport rules, tire wear, off, standing, not by PI, by random. And I'm going to force everybody. Again, we're going to be running 3-stop races for the most part. I think it's going to be rare for anybody to try to do it in 2. But actually, you know what? We'll open strategy up for the AI because they tend to like to run long. Accept these options. Okay. Oh, good. We're running at night.
Mid-Ohio is a challenging old-school circuit that has retained much of its original design and character from 1962, while including recent refurbishing, producing a more competitive racing experience for drivers.
Right. Okay, so that was the problem I was running into before. So, event setup. Let's go back to cars. There's 2 RS6 Avants. This, obviously, the second one is the 2015. I want... It's funny, because now it's only giving the 1. All right, so what we're going to do is... I think this is the 2021 Avant, right? There we go. Do, 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 do. Just make sure. Yep, we're all in the 2021. That's fine. No, I don't need to report an offensive livery. What did I do? Let's get out of that. All right, so 27 laps. It's a tire strategy. It was 5, 7, and 9 for last week's races, and that's pretty much going to hold true for Silverstone. But here, soft tire 4 laps, medium tire 6 laps, hard tire 8 laps. So in a 27 lap race, you know, it's definitely, it looks like it's a 3 stopper. Let's see, to 4, 6, and 8, 8, 8. If I do 2 stints on the hard, that's 16, plus 16, 22 when I go to the yeah. So it looks like hard, soft, or hard, medium, soft. So yeah, again, math in the head. So 4, 6, 10, 18. 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26. Oh, that's even a little short. So what we're going to try and do is, so the safe option is 3 stints on the hard, 1 stint on the soft. That would get you, and then you could really push the softs if you wanted to try that, because then that'd be 24, and then you only have 3 laps then for the soft tire. If you want to push one of your stints on the hard tire to say 9 laps, then I might try it just for kicks and giggles, or maybe even push the mediums an extra lap. As long as you can get 1 extra lap on one of those tires, then you could finish out 4 laps on the softs. Again, my lap count is probably a smidge high for what we're actually going to race on Thursday because of bucket delays and like that. So it might be 26 laps, might be 25, but let's see what the end timer looks like. Make that judgment. But I'm going to do 27, and let's go ahead to the car. And again, 27 laps, we'll have plenty of fuel. So I'm actually, again, I don't like mucking with fuel unless I absolutely have to. We're going to start on the hard tire. I'm actually going to see if I can get 7 laps out of it. If I can, then I can just do hard, medium, soft to the end of the race. So we'll see what happens. It's going to start me up front. Now I'm still going to pull over. I do want to start at the back. That might actually, and again, because I'm starting in the back in a really full field, that may actually help with that getting that extra lap on the hards, because they're going to be cold. I won't be pushing as much because of traffic. Times I may just have to try a per car delay. Oh, that's late. That's late.
Total time penalty is about 2.5 seconds.
I'll take that. As I was on the inside, I realized, like, oh, I cannot see the little yellow cutouts that I'm used to seeing when there's gargantuan station wagons to the left. Take a look. Ooh, he's taken just in the late apex. So the AI likes to do the late apex. I'll have to try and use that. Maybe sneak underneath. Yep, so that whole look for the yellow cutout thing, nope, can't see it at all. Sorry. Even I'm treating it a little bit like a double apex. I'm coming off, I'm coming off the edge just that little bit. That's a little bit late. Off the inside a little bit. And my hope is, again, I'm going to try and go 7 laps in this opening stint. So the hope is that I get the minor, if I get the minor tire wear alert late on the 6th lap, then I know I'm good. If I get it early on the 6th lap, then lap 7 is going to be very interesting. Short shift to 3rd. That's a little too aggressive on that first on that right-hander. Too much cutting of the corner. There's already it's a little late. Front tires didn't like that. What I'm looking for on the right side now, since I can't see the yellow cutouts, it's now just counting braking boards. So it's the 3rd. The first one I'm going to see at the end of the cement wall there on the left is the 500 board, and I'm braking just before the 300. So it's 1, 2, brake. That's a late weight shift on the back end. A little bit late there. Nice thing about the back end of this car is when it does start to step out, it gives you plenty of warning. And it's not really snappy. 1, 2, brake. That's a little bit early on the brakes there. That's better. Oh, I am at 7 laps. Ah! Okay, hang on. That's my fault. So in this context, in this race, I'm getting much better front tire wear than I was expecting. Now, part of that too is that first lap. I can't push the tires as much as I would. So let's go ahead and pit. And on the hard tires was skip. So Thursday's race, again, since I'm starting at the back, I'll probably be pushing the tires a bit more on those opening laps than I'll ever do here, just because of the amount of traffic that slows me up. So coming out of the pits, second gear. You're going to be in second gear, which is great. No real need. You can shift to third if you want, but you're immediately having to slow back down. Okay, so I pitted in lap 7, so... Oh, See, this is why I'm just a driver. I don't do pit strategy. I needed to go 9 laps. Okay. Well, I just hosed myself. I did 7, which would have been 1 more lap than for the medium tires, but 1 lap short on the hards. So, all right. So 9, 8, 17. All right. Well, I've made the bed. I'm going to lie in it. I'm going to try and go to lap 17 on the set of tires, and those last 2.5 laps are going to be horrible. Let's see what I can do to take care of the tires now. If I can get to lap, what'll probably happen is if I can get to lap 16 for minor, I might have a shot. Well, again, I'm at this point, I'm committed either way. It's just the car is going to be very difficult to drive late, so. Seeing puffs of smoke from the cars in front of me. Yeah, you keep wearing your tires out and locking brakes. It's a nice thing, at least you'll see people coming out of the pits here before turn 1, or turn 2, technically. A bit late. I gotta be better disciplined about when to check tires. It really needs to ideally be on the front straightaway. Anywhere else here during the lap, it's too easy then to then miss a braking point or turn in, and then you can wind up in the grass or the gravel, which is not fun. Yeah, so it looks like, as far as me releasing the brakes, it looks like I am actually, at least the pace I'm running now, releasing them as I'm coming out from under the bridge, but I'm still braking, starting the braking just before it. So either that's just me relaxing a little, a little too much, And maybe I just need to be a little more aggressive on that braking. As long as you can get the car through the turn, I guess that's all that matters. A little early there. Yeah. It's one of those things that tends to happen throughout the race is as the race goes on, my braking gets a little bit lax. Where, really, they say smooth is fast, but, when it comes to braking should be, especially threshold braking, is probably the most violent thing you'll do in the car, because you want to get that car slowed down as late as possible while still being able to make the corner. That's an early turn in. There's minor, which means, and I'm out of rhythm. Okay, so I'm at 50% on at least one of the tires in the front. That tire is going to go 60% by the end of lap 16, and I still have to do one more on it. We will be going to severe tire wear by the end of lap 17. That was a little bit late there, and then the car's already starting to push. Come on, stop. Just get me through this lap. Intending to short shift up to third as soon as I see the Acura sign. There's moderate. Okay, so I did a decent enough job not pushing too much to get the car to lap 17. Let me just make sure I got my math right. 8 plus... Yeah, 17. 8 plus 9. Land rail probably would get like 12 laps on the hards here, but oh, come on. Push. Yep, sorry, I'm a little slow. Tires aren't what they used to be. Okay, turning in for pit lane, it's gonna catch you right past the barrels. So you really can't go in full throttle, but yes, we're going to go to the medium, and we're going to skip. Okay, so 17, okay, 6 laps on these, 17, 6, 23. Yes, I can do math in my head. I can do math in my head in the pits. I can't do it on track. All right, so 6 laps on the mediums. Now I got to try and make up for the fact that I screwed up pit strategy. And see if I can make up some spots now. And for the guys on the wheel, you know, as you're coming out of the pits, you know, especially if you take a drinker like that, just put a little bit of steering, left-hand steering in as the game releases you. That way you keep to the left side of the track and don't cross over in front of anybody. Not saying that will happen, but you never know. The grip is nice. I can brake a little bit later there now. I can catch these guys in front of me. You guys make up your mind. That's so inviting, but I get the feeling these guys are going to pit here in a lap or so. Not close enough for turn one. I'm at least going to offset a little bit just to give myself some breathing space. And again, they like taking that wider, that double apex. So I'm going to look underneath here. Oh. That's going to be trouble for me throughout this race if it's at night. Even during the day, just not being able to see reference points on the outside. But that's a me problem. Gather it up and get on with it, because I'm sure we're all going to have offs here. Anything else I can see that will help? Really? Just did it again there too, because I was looking for other things instead of counting. 2 more, well, 22, 23, 2 more laps. It wouldn't surprise me if the game, or if the AI, especially the front runners, just decide to run hards the entire race. In theory, they'll be able to do it in 2 stops. Not much I can do about that, but if I can figure out where I can pass. Alright, let's go get some softs. Yeah, be careful how hot you go into the pits. You know, you don't want to get stuck. I'm hoping the extra little risk I took gets me out in front of the. Nope. Well, maybe. Yes. Good. A bit of left-hand steering in for when it releases me. More grip than you. And use second gear there just to help get turn in. And then short shift it back up to third for the exit. Come on, make up your mind. What gear do you want to be in?
Three remaining.
Copy that. Lost track of the braking boards. I did a quick check in the review just to see how close Wilfred was behind me. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It's the danger of too much braking and then turning the wheel. Gets a little too much weight on the front, and the back end wants to come around to the other side and say hello. Just want to see if I can catch zero enemy and get that, and say I can got a touch. I'm gonna catch zero enemy so I can at least say I got a top 20. 1, 2, brake. Right, I don't know. It'll be close. I don't know that I've got enough pace to get him. Whoa, what was that?
One more. Finish strong.
Almost as if the downshifted one extra gear. I don't know. Two. I've already got a 2.5 second penalty because I was stupid earlier in the race, but it's fine. I'll give up the inside here. I'll compromise that a little bit. You're gonna give me that 2.5 seconds? Thank you. I'll take it. Hey, I got a top 20. Phew. 113.941. All right. So that's Mid Ohio Short in the Audi R6 Avant. Yeah, it's going to be passing wise. I think it's similar to what we had at Atlanta, where there's really not a lot of prime places to set up passes. Certainly, turn one, maybe turn 1, 2, turn 3 at China Beach. You might be able to set something up. But then getting into the madness, it's really just about focusing on your line, making sure you stay on track, and then capitalize on other people's mistakes. So that'll be it. And at 35.41, actually, yeah, 27's probably still a lap on the high side. So I'd say probably 26, maybe 25, depending on what time it is when we get started. Because this I think is race 2 on Thursday. So. With that, I'm going to take a short break and then come back and do this all again at Silverstone International. Is it national or international? One of them. So hope you're having a good not Saturday. You normally do these on Saturday. Hope you're having a good Sunday, and we'll see you on track. Happy racing.